I worked 2 jobs to pay for my wife's medical school, her lifelong dream. While I sacrificed my sleep and my health, she wasn't just having an affair with her supervising doctor, the two of them were planning to steal the clinic that I helped her build. They thought I was just the naive, hard-working husband. But when I discovered the truth, I used every penny I had invested in her to ensure that the career she built on my back would crumble in public. My name is Andre, and I used to believe in the power of dreams, especially my wife's, Dr. Sophia. We met in college. I was a business student, she was a passionate pre-med student. Her ambition was contagious. She wanted to be the best pediatric surgeon in the country. And I, hopelessly in love, decided that her dream would be our dream. We got married shortly after my graduation. While she focused on her studies to get into medical school, I took on the financial burden. I worked as a logistics manager during the day and made deliveries at night. Every cent I earned went into the Sophia's Med School savings account. It was a tough time, full of small apartments and instant noodle dinners, but we were together, and that's what mattered. She got in. And the struggle continued. Medical school is a meat grinder, both financially and emotionally. I continued working too, sometimes 3 jobs to cover tuition, the outrageously expensive books, and our living costs. I was the stereotypical supportive husband. I made dinner, did the laundry, and listened to her vent about the pressure of exams. I didn't mind. I was investing in our future. I believed that every sacrifice I made was a brick in the foundation of the incredible life we would have together. After years of exhausting residency, she finally graduated, a brilliant surgeon. With the money I had saved and a loan I took out in my name, we realized the second part of the dream. We opened the Andrade Pediatric Clinic, under her last name. I handled the entire administrative side, the lease, the finances, the marketing, so that she could focus solely on medicine. The clinic was an immediate success. Sophia's reputation as a dedicated and talented doctor spread. She was invited to give lectures, featured in local papers. And I was there, in the background, prouder than anyone. That's when Dr. Ricardo Montero entered the picture. He was the chief of surgery at the city's largest hospital, a legend in the field. He became Sophia's mentor, inviting her to assist in complex surgeries, co-authoring papers with her. At first, I was grateful. I thought, how wonderful, she's being recognized by someone so important. The change in Sophia was gradual. The long nights on call became more frequent. The conversations about our day were replaced by monologues about the genius of Dr. Montero. Ricardo taught me a new technique today. Ricardo said I have the steadiest hands he's ever seen. It was always, Ricardo, Ricardo, Ricardo. I tried to talk to her. You two seem to be spending a lot of time together, I commented one night. Her reaction was cold. It's my work, Andre. You wouldn't understand the pressure. Ricardo is the most important person in my career right now. You should be happy for me. The way she said, you wouldn't understand, hit me hard. Suddenly, the man who financed the dream had become an outsider who couldn't comprehend it. Suspicion began to harden into a painful certainty. She became protective of her phone, always placing it face down when I was near. The trips for medical conferences, which I was subtly discouraged from attending, increased. I felt like a fool, but the thought of confronting her without proof terrified me. What if I was wrong? I would destroy our marriage over paranoia. And if I was right? I would destroy my own heart. The truth, as it always does, appeared in a banal and brutal way. I was looking for an insurance document in our home office when I saw an envelope from a law firm I didn't recognize, addressed only to her. Normally, I would never open her mail. But my gut screamed. I opened the envelope. Inside, there wasn't a letter, but a draft of a contract. A partnership agreement for a new clinic, the Montero Andrade Pediatric Clinic. Her name and Ricardo's. The contract detailed the dissolution of our current clinic, the transfer of all assets and the patient list to the new entity. And the cruelest part, in the agreement, I was to be compensated for my initial investment with a flat fee, an amount that was a fraction of what the clinic was now worth, on the condition that I sign a non-disclosure agreement and never again use her last name in any future ventures. They weren't just having an affair. They were planning to erase me. They were stealing the business I had built with my sweat and my money, the dream for which I had sacrificed my own career. I sat there in the office chair, the contract trembling in my hands, and I felt something I had never felt before. It wasn't sadness, it was a calculating fury. The man who worked 3 jobs had died. In his place, a strategist was born. I didn't rip up the contract. I photographed it, put it back in the envelope, and left it exactly where I found it. She couldn't know that I knew. If they wanted to play a business game, I would play. And I would play to win. I hired the best corporate divorce lawyer in the city. A ruthless man known as the Shark. I brought him the contract and everything I had, proof of payments for her tuition, the clinic's loan agreement in my name, emails where we discussed our joint plans. We have a solid case for fraud and breach of fiduciary duty, the Shark said, with a smile that gave me chills. But we can do better. We're not going to attack her yet. We're going to let her think she's in control. We're going to wait for her to make the next move. And that's what I did. I became the perfect husband. Attentive, understanding, oblivious to everything. I listened to her talk about Ricardo with a smile on my face. Inside, I was assembling an arsenal. The opportunity arose 2 weeks later. Sophia came home, radiant. "Andre, I have an incredible proposal for you," she announced. "Ricardo, well, we've decided to become partners. He wants to invest in the clinic, to expand it. And he thinks you should step away from the administration. He said you deserve a break, maybe go back to school, get an MBA with the money we're going to give you. You can finally have your own career." It was the same offer from the contract, now wrapped in a speech of generosity. This was my cue. I feigned hesitation. "But, Sophia, the clinic, it's our baby." "I know, my love," she said, her voice full of a false compassion. "But think about it. It would be your chance to finally be the protagonist, not just my support system." I pretended to consider it, and then, I agreed. "All right. If it's what you think is best for us, I trust you." The look of relief on her face was almost comical. She thought she had won, that the naive husband had fallen into the trap. In the following days, she and Ricardo presented me with the official paperwork. Their lawyer, an arrogant young man, barely looked at me. My lawyer, the Shark, reviewed everything. "It's a well-laid trap," he said. But they left an opening. The opening was an appraisal clause. The contract stipulated that the value of my compensation would be based on an independent appraisal of the clinic. And I had the right to hire my own appraiser. "They expect you to hire just anyone," the Shark said. "But we are going to hire the best. And we're going to make sure he sees everything." And that's what we did. While their appraiser did a superficial analysis, mine dove deep. And he found what I, in my blind dedication, had never noticed. Sophia and Ricardo had already been siphoning funds from the clinic for months. Small payments for phantom consulting services, purchases of overpriced equipment from shell companies linked to Ricardo. They weren't just planning to push me out, they were already emptying the company from the inside. The new partnership announcement party was Sophia's idea. An elegant event at the clinic itself, for all the clients, partners, and healthcare press. It was meant to be her and Ricardo's coronation. For me, it was to be the execution. I agreed to give a speech, to officially pass the torch. The night of the party arrived. Sophia was stunning, Ricardo by her side, the power couple. My parents, who never understood why I had given up my career to support her, were there, finally looking proud of their successful daughter-in-law. It was time for my speech. I took the small stage, microphone in hand. Sophia and Ricardo looked at me with condescending smiles, expecting a sentimental, defeated speech. "Good evening, everyone," I began. "Many of you know me as the administrator behind this clinic, the husband of the incredible Dr. Andrade. And today, I'm here to celebrate a new and exciting partnership." I looked directly at Sophia and Ricardo. "A partnership based on trust, ambition, and creative accounting." A confused murmur went through the room. Sophia and Ricardo exchanged a nervous glance. I continued, my voice calm but sharp. "For example, the trust required to approve $10,000 payments to a consulting firm in a tax haven. Or the ambition to purchase an MRI machine for 30% above market price, from a company whose sole director is, coincidentally, your new partner's best friend." I projected the first slide of my presentation onto the large screen behind me. It wasn't a family photo. It was a bank statement, with the transaction to the offshore company circled in red. One by one, I presented the slides. The inflated invoices. The emails between Sophia and Ricardo discussing the transfers. The full report from my appraiser, detailing the fraud. I wasn't giving a farewell speech. I was presenting a criminal complaint in front of their most important audience. The room was in shocked silence. The color drained from Sophia's and Ricardo's faces. They were completely exposed, caught in their own greed. "So, yes," I concluded, "I am, in fact, passing the torch. Just not to them." It was then that two men in suits, who had been discreetly positioned near the door, came forward. They were investigators from the Medical Ethics Board and the Federal Revenue Service, whom my lawyer had notified that afternoon. "Dr. Andrade, Dr. Montero," one of them said. "We'd like to have a word with you." What happened next was a swift and brutal conclusion. Sophia's medical license was suspended during the investigation. Ricardo, already with a questionable history, was the first to fall. The clinic was shut down, its assets frozen. Their reputations, which they valued so much, were destroyed overnight. I didn't stay to watch the end. As soon as the investigators approached them, I left. My part was done. The divorce was contentious, but with the evidence of fraud, the outcome was clear. I not only kept my assets, but I was also reimbursed for every cent that had been siphoned off. Sophia lost her clinic, her career, and her credibility. Ricardo disappeared, probably looking for his next victim. And me? I started over. I opened a small management consulting firm for medical clinics, using the experience I'd gained to help other doctors avoid making the same mistakes. My revenge didn't bring me happiness, but it brought me peace. The peace of knowing that the truth prevailed. And it taught me the most important lesson of my life: never sacrifice your own dreams on the altar of someone else's. Because in the end, when the lights go out and the audience goes home, the only person left to either applaud or jeer you is yourself.